good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Well, it's afternoon here in South Africa. I bring you none other today on Kosmik Conversations with Zoe, powered by the book Spine, of course. The book Spine universe, of course. I bring you none other than Lucas Alan Dietsche, the author of Yilang. Like, I have to look this. I have to check my notes for this because it's quite a long title. But I hope you guys enjoy him. It's the featured book here we're talking about is Yilang Socialism, Mali Communism and Socialist Commerce, 1975 to 1978. How are you, Lucas?
Incredible.
I love your sunglasses.
Thank you so much. I'm taking it back to put glasses over because I definitely think it's a crime to have to pay constantly for prescription sunglasses and stuff like that. So, yes.
It is a crime because, I mean, it affects everyone. I mean, the sun affects everyone's eyes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I read somewhere that it's actually sun gazing is not a bad thing. Come to think of it, everything that we were told that is bad, all of a sudden now it's good. I don't understand it. But anyway, here we are discussing your book, Yilang Socialism, Anisarili, Marxism and Socialist Commerce, 1975, 1978. So tell us about your journey. What was your journey like venturing into this book? And why specifically this kind of work?
Yeah, it seems that's such a weird thing for a white revolutionary from rural Wisconsin to write about a very esoteric, isolated archipelago island country like Comoros. But long story short, I've always been like very much like a lot of revolutionaries. They study Russia or China or Cuba and everything. They try to find like kind of sometimes the best scenario, especially for like United States or South Africa. You have huge influence with the South African Communist Party and Nelson Mandela and Joe Slovo and Winnie Nelson and everything. So I've been always interested in kind of like the messy things. Like, we're messy people, we're polyphonic people, we're non fixed entities and everything. So like to find this perfect packaged way, seems absurd. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in my life. Like, I used to be in a Trotskyist group for 20 years, and then we would always talk about other socialist countries. And around a New Year's party, we talked about Comoros and this guy named Ali Soleil. And I mean, Comoros is about the size of, but here in Minnesota, it's about the size of like a Minnesota county if you put it all together. It's very small. I mean, it's made up of 4 islands. Now it's only made out of 3 because one is still occupied by France and everything. So I mean, I left for all sorts of reasons of that group, and I'm like, I'm going to write this book. And I thought it was just going to be like a self-published like pamphlet book or something, just to like do it, but it ended up taking like 3 years and everything. So
that is super cool. That's like the coolest backstory of a book, actually. That is super cool. Like, it makes me think of this book that I once read. What is it? The Sandinistas.
Oh yeah.
You ever read that? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
That I was literally reading that on a beach in Clifton, Cape Town, summer of 2022, with a really close friend of mine as a photographer, Hungarian. And I'm like, dude, you would be so cool if you went to Nicaragua. He's like a very leftish kind of focused person. Like, you can't deter him when it comes to that sort of thing. So like, dude, it'd be so cool if you went to Nicaragua, because he's the guy that goes anywhere. Like, all these places that people don't want to go to, he goes. And he's like a couple of months down the line, there he was in Nicaragua. So yeah, oh my gosh, you brought your cigar. That's super cool. Where's my Havana?
Well, it's only 9:30 here, so I'm sticking to coffee. So
it's 16:30, yeah, for me. So hey, I'm allowed.
Yeah,
Where's my glass? Except I don't have a cigar. Is that a Nicaraguan one or a Cuban?
No Cubans in the United States. I think it's Nicaraguan. So yeah,
Why
make
is
sure
that?
it is
That should be a
Nicaraguan.
crime. That
Yeah,
should
it
be a
is.
crime.
It is. Yeah, totally.
Okay, my next question for you, for you, would be: what experiences, influence, and or defining moments shaped your path as a writer, researcher, and thinker, and ultimately led you to the work that you do today?
Yeah, that's a awesome question. Like, I'm very like I've definitely been pulled and pushed and everything very much into kind of like a blur scenario, which I don't have. I'm very much against like linear like time, and I think we're very much like addicted to linear time and Western metaphysics and everything. So, I mean, especially with my poetry, like I very much don't fit in the category of like spoken word or slam poetry. I'm very like much like my poetry since 2020 or 2001 has been very convoluted and different and everything. And you would think that 5 or 6 people are writing it and everything very abstract, sometimes very formalist. But like with other books, like I've written like a fake like autobiography of like a capitalist. I've wrote about zombies. I've wrote about like a fake happening in like North Korea. So sometimes I'm always like inspired by like most people are inspired by things, but I'm also like I recognize like I try not to follow trends because especially in publishing, like I mean like I didn't go to school for like writing and how to like write like books that will sell because I definitely think that's a sellout. Like that's like kind of my purist type belief. But I don't know. I mean, I have like tons of ideas and it's very important. Like Sylvia Plath said, it's more important to be like have a huge imagination than and be like formalist in one's writing almost. I definitely um aspire to. I mean like there's no other like example of me writing about Comoros because there's not many things in English or like for the Western
Yeah.
Marxism about it. It's like lots of Wikipedia articles, lots of Reddit stuff on how horrible it was, but they were surrounded, isolated, French imperialism. I mean, they did it their way. And it's important to recognize that revolution is messy. Like there's a lot of personalities and everything, and that doesn't mean you just throw the whole project out. So
Hmm. Um, Looking at your background, your background is fascinating. Okay, let's have a look. You have a background in eclectic working. Basically, you've had like all the kinds of jobs that that most people don't like to talk about, but well, eclectic working class jobs. Okay,
mhm.
you you have a background in education, to working, also you have what, a PhD in philosophy. My goodness, and
I'm working towards that, but yeah, I'll have a PhD in philosophy in 2 years. But yeah,
that
my
is
dissertation
amazing.
is on poetry. Like I probably could have done it on more Comoros. I could have done it on anything, but that's like one of my many passions. So, but go on, I cut you off.
You're literally like that one poet that you're the poet. You wore a shirt the other day saying you're the poet Plato warned us about. I laughed at that. I actually reshaped that. That's super cool. Oh, I was gonna say you have a master's in criminology, a bachelor's in history. You're working towards a PhD in philosophy. Is there anything else that you cannot do, Mr. Allen?
Bend gravity. I've yet tried to walk through walls and everything on water and everything. So yeah, just give me
Those are
time.
not
So
hard to do.
alchemy is real. So yeah.
Yeah, it is. Truly, truly. What was my other question for you would be, every book has a moment and it comes and before it becomes a manuscript, right? So what constellation of ideas, encounters, or questions first illuminated your path towards writing Ilang Ilang socialism? How do you laugh
Well,
at that?
yeah. Well, like those constellations, like the 4 stars of Comoros. Um, yeah, it was extremely like I had to really kind of bend time and space because I literally, my French is horrible. I don't speak Arabic or Swahili, so like that counts against me. So I was literally like finding really random websites, and I was really, making sure I was doing it at like through a Socratic, you know, empirical way and everything. But you sometimes I ask for help on Twitter, or find some sites, and I was really moved because I found this one quote from this very pro Ali Soleil website. It was like, Comoronians like love to tell stories. Like it's not, I mean, there
Mm.
could be 5 or 6 things happening at the same time. And so me, like, it wasn't my place to like, you know, put the history or the experience on the people. It was more like taking what I can, especially what happened to Ali Soleil. Like I literally said, well, here's what the European newspapers say. Here's what a pro LA like. So it was. I didn't want to take all these experiences and try to like synthesize it. I thought that was totally against what the revolution was about. That's literally what kind of the culture of
Mm.
Comoronians and everything. So I had, and still learning. Like I have this comrade that was like, you should write another book, and try to either do more about like the visual history, or um, kind of what's coming out of it and everything. Because there's so much that's not, I mean, it's, yeah. So I'm constantly learning, constantly finding more things. I mean, I just found an image of like the Red Guard, the Moisey, a symbol of them. I'm like, darn it, 3 years ago I could have put that in the book. Or I finally saw a shrine of Ali Soleil in Moroni, Comoros. I'm like, well, I could put that, like, so like that's good. Like that shows that there's a weird niche interest. And in a post-truth, postmodern world, it's all about
Yeah.
niches. It's all about ending grand meta narratives. I'm like, okay, if you have all these pieces in a revolution, um, it'll happen. And we see that that's very, very harmful. That's very definitely does a disservice to people doing it their own way, and everything of what they can.
Yeah.
And so, and the secular and social republic of Comoros is a very very interesting case study. So
Yeah. Truly, indeed. My next question for you would be, uh, why do you think Ali Soleil remains a compelling yet often overlooked figure in world history? Why do you think is that?
well, he's kind of like, you have your pantheon of like African liberation fighters, and
Mhm.
he's not on there. Like, especially there's a great interest in like the ending of neo-colonialism by France and like Burkina Faso and
Mm.
the Sahel regions and everything. And like, Comoros is definitely part of that francophone legacy continually, especially with the occupation of Maori, or Mayotte, as the Frenchies say. So he's kind of like this weird outlier that's not really like part of it either, that he's known. But I mean he's a very controversial figure.
Yeah.
He said, according to a lot of sources, he's like, there's no other god than Ali Soleil. I mean, he's like an atheist Muslim. I mean, huge ego, but like, like he kind of fell into the revolution. I mean, the Comoros is I mean, there's so many websites, and like Comoros is known, unfortunately, for like a socialist government being put into power by a French mercenary and then taken out by the same French mercenary. They're known for, the only socialist country or even country to like
Yeah.
legalize marijuana, to have a youth red guard based on the Chinese red guards. So, or
Yeah.
like all the stuff that supposedly happened of L.A. Soleil's demise and everything. So I mean, there was no like, like I said, of not following absolutist models. Like he didn't have like a vanguard party, like South African Communist Party or something. He literally was like, Comoros is small. They have these 3 islands. They have 4, and so we're gonna have like kind of communes called Mararis. We're gonna have. So I mean, there's a lot of part of him that was very mystical, very superstitious, very, and he knew kind of at some point that like Bob Denard, the French mercenary, would come back and like, France would like try to take Comoros back, So he was kind of like trying to do as much as he could before the end, though, because, he definitely saw what was going on in Africa in the 60s and 70s, like lots of like, counter revolutions, Patrice Lumumba and a lot of others and everything later, Thomas Sankara. So he definitely saw like this is happening, and he knew that he was put in power by mercenaries. He was replacing Abdullah. So he knew that it might happen again, and Comoros is very small compared to like even France in the 1960s and 70s, but still had tremendous power and everything.
What's your take on Trotskyism?
on Trotskyism? Well, I mean, I'm very much still a revolutionary communist, whatever, very of all hues. I like the idea of hermeneutic communism, which is very much open to interpretation. I definitely at this point like whoever ism like wins, good for them. It's more like of a like cousins trying to be competitive. I do see like I was in that world for many decades, very zealously loyal, like putting up flyers, organizing events. But I definitely see I mean, this is my own take, but I definitely see like especially American Trotskyism, very purist, very rigid, very unable to see the multipolar world. It wasn't, it's not the same before the Soviet Union collapsed. That is like a major issue of orthodox Marxism. Like, okay, you have the term orthodox, which is a very, very Judo-Christian leftover and everything. I'm very much, in the tenet of Trotskyism and like permanent revolution and everything, and rejecting, Democrats and Republicans and that. But I'm also like, there's a reason why a lots of, people in the global South or people of color like really subscribe to like Mao or Che. Like, there's a reason for that, and we can't just say, well, they're ultra left or the Black Panthers. Like it's very messy, and people are very messy, like personally and everything. I mean, to really give your whole life to Trotskyism. I mean, it's great, but like, man, it's really a hard and isolating life. And to know that there's so many other tenants. Like, I mean, I wouldn't know that I'm like after 2020 when I left Trotskyism, like I'd be reading Nietzsche and Hegel and Heidegger and Mao and Macumber and like kind of having this new renaissance, which is very important, very important everything. And and I focusing on the PhD, but still, I mean, I found a lot of awesome accomplices and stuff for revolution and like outside of it, because that's very hard. So I don't know. I mean, I yeah, that's kind of my take. I mean, if someone wants to do that, I mean, plus like to me, to have someone become a revolutionary and then go through all these groups and be like, okay, this tiny, kind of Trotskyism. I mean, it's very, I don't know. It really cuts out a lot of like mysticism and
Yeah.
needs, like a lot of Trotskyists, like, well, they don't see all the great, revolutionaries that weren't perfect. Like, I'm very adherent of like Harry Tubman and John Brown and Nat Turner. Like, I mean, a lot of people like doing the hard work and like shouldn't just be discounted because they believed in God, or anything. Like, there's a lot of things that people try to do that it's hard. It's hard within conditions and everything. It's hard. You can't be perfect because I think a lot of like the idea of the meta narratives have definitely changed. So
Yeah, true. Um, the title itself, Ylang Ylang Socialism, it evokes both fragrance and ideology. What symbolism does the phrase hold for you? And it's like I like what does it hold for you?
yeah, I thought of different titles, and I'm really obsessed with like kind of like monikers for like different like um like Stalinist countries like Hungary, the People's Republic of Hungary. They were kind of jokingly called, they had goulash communism because it was very still connected to like national identity. I always joked that if America had communism, it'd be like fast food communism, just because it would be connecting to um like commodification, everything. But like Yingling is a very much like connected to, unfortunately connected to like the exploitation of Comoros. It used to be a water station. It used to be kind of a stopping for like ships and stuff in different various levels. And then the
Mhm.
French like planted Yingling. As far as I know, it's not national, but part of the book I was really trying to find, it's like a hypothesis. It's like, because Yingling is like the main ingredient in Chanel number
Yeah,
5. And so I was
yeah,
really trying, I was really trying to find a connection of like, well, is it because, I mean, obviously France wanted Comoros back because of, they just didn't want to lose more, because they were losing, Vietnam and Algeria and their whole empire, and Algeria and stuff was breaking apart. So, they just don't want to lose one more country. But I definitely think, it had to do with the Yingling um, connection. So I just, I put in there, I mean, it like Elisa didn't say, well, we're building Yingling socialism. But it's kind of, I mean, it also, as people look up, the maybe Yingling and socialism, and I don't know. I mean, I like it because I put it there, but I also wanted, like, when I write titles for papers, there's like two halves. Like, there's a poetic-y part, and then there's the philosopher and title and concept part and
yeah.
everything. So I was trying. I kind of looked at that like, well, I need something poetic-y, and then the long
Yes,
about.
going to
Yeah.
my well, we're gonna we're kind of like racing against time here, so kind of really short. Um, my next question for you would be uh, but my next question for you would be basically, I just want to, because we're running out of time really. Um, how do your publishers deal with you? The kind of personality and the kind of with your personality and the kind of work that you present and your ideas. And also, do you ever feel like you also challenge this book kind of challenge your own assumptions in any way? So
Yeah.
that's like three
So
questions.
yeah. So yeah, like Maria, and your Marionette Press and everything. Like, I brought that up to
Mm.
her, or I was like, I really just wanted to, like, in uh 2021, I was like, okay, I lost my job. I'm just gonna publish it. It's gonna take a summer, and then I'll just self-publish it. And then she was like, well, we'll publish it for you. And I was like, I actually really tried to talk them out of it because, this is incredibly niche. This is like, I mean, you might have 5 or 6, people in, North America be interested in this. And they ended up doing it and stuff. And, my personality, like, I'm very, very open to ideas, but I'm also like the feeling, the aesthetic of it. Like I was like, well, but I think the most thing I quibbled about was like my picture. I kind of wanted it because for nostalgic reasons, I love having like my picture for like art exhibits or like publications with like a cigar and everything, because there's a lot of like cool philosophers and Che and Castro, they had that as a part of their symbology.
You get to that literally, like that is literally my next question. To delve into quickly because we're really racing against time, like we're running out of time. Literally. Yeah. Or I was gonna say, I'm gonna give you a few names. You just pick one, and you motivate your answer. Okay, Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, Nelson Mandela, Kwame Nkrumah.
What am I? Yeah. What just to say what I think about them?
But yeah, just pick one and tell me what you think about one.
Oh wow, okay. I love I love Castro because he definitely he definitely like he's definitely like only because he was like he defied the US empire and died on his own terms. He definitely responds to this like messy character. Like when I was a Trotskyist, I'm like, oh, he's just like another Stalinist, whatever. But no, like he's complicated and like putting up the good fight 90 miles away from one of the most horrible empires in the history of the world. Like, like I mean, like he's a beautiful symbol, and Che too. Like like I mean, both of them are extremely messy individuals and everything. But like, I mean, they're part of us and everything, and they know like, I mean, they're egotistical, but to get through that is to do the good work. And I'm like, Che died, in the jungles of Bolivia and everything, continuing the permanent revolution. No, he didn't do it in a perfect Trotskyist box and everything, but like, I mean, we aspire to because he has many faults and he knew his faults and everything. So
yeah. Lastly but not least, because we have to close now because we're running out of time. For real. Oh, I love the cup. Oh my god, your branding is on point. I should get one for Bookspine. I need to get a t-shirt from Bookspine. You're giving me ideas here. I was gonna say, okay, for anybody that's looking to get your book, Yilang Socialism, where can they get it? I know it's available on angiomarionettepress.com. Are there any other websites or links that we want us to share?
I mean, that would be the best bet. I mean, it's on Amazon. I know everyone goes on there, so that's a part too. But go through I Ain't Marionette Press for sure. Yeah.
Okay. This was an incredible chat with you, Lucas. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your authenticity and I appreciate your ideas and I appreciate you smoking cigar, man. You cigar smoking man. What the hell's going on with me this afternoon? We're going to wrap this up. And I thank you so much. I thank you guys for watching another episode of Kosmik Konversations with Zoe with our featured author, Lucas Alan Dietsche of the Yilang Socialism. You're supposed to say the rest